Hey guys, welcome to this very first episode of What Car is Right for You, and we've got two very interesting cars that directly compete. I'm standing next to a brand new Honda Civic Si, and this is a car that directly competes with my man's.
This is the brand spanking new Hyundai Elantra GT Sport.
Nathan, show him the car.
Yeah, here, take a little walk with me. Now, for those of you who don't know who Peter Schreier was, he is the guy from Audi who designed cars and then moved over to Kia and really brought up their whole design ethic, and now he's also working with Hyundais. And this vehicle is a direct result of his ability. By the way, it's a proper hatch. Come on back here. Nice little dual exhaust setup, unlike Roman's giant orifice. You'll see that in a minute. But yeah, I mean, it's a regular hatchback, has a decent amount of space, fairly flat floor, and of course, spare tire donut. One more thing, which is really important. Roman's vehicle has a very different type of roofline than this one. One of the things about hatchbacks that's awesome is they usually have pretty good headroom. Why don't you check out Roman's car?
Hey guys, so I've got the Civic Si, and the cool thing about the Civic Si is that there's only one price, there's only one transmission, and there's only one exhaust pipe. Show it to him, Andre. That is a massive exhaust pipe. And even though this looks like a hatchback, it really isn't. That's a trunk. Now, I happen to have the two-door coupe, but there is also a four-door, actually five, well, it's not really door, a four-door with the trunk that's available. Come on back with me, let's show them the front, Andre. There are, of course, now three versions of the Civic. There's a regular Civic, there's the Civic Si, which is, well, not the hottest performance version, but the next step up. And then, of course, there is the Civic Type R. Today, we're talking about this and the Elantra because these are two direct competitors. Now, my car is $24,100 as configured, and that's the one price, either for a two-door or a four-door. Nathan, what's yours?
Mine starts at $23,250 and goes all the way up to $28,200. But the big difference here is the amount of items you can get with the vehicle. This one, you can get a lot of stuff, including a high-end tech package that includes smart cruise control, lane keep, driver's assist, you name it. So they do have some different levels to them. And another thing to keep in mind, you can get a similar version of this vehicle as a sedan. They're different, but they have the same power plant, basically. This guy over here, though, has two transmissions. Either the 6-speed manual, which is in this one, or there is a 7-speed dual clutch that's available.
All right, well, let me show them what's under the hood of the Civic Si. It is, of course, a 1.5-liter turbo, and it's been massaged from the regular Civic to produce, hold on, let me open the trunk, 205 horsepower. So it puts out more power, but of course not as much as the all-conquering Type R, which is at 300. Let me show you this Earth Dreams engine. Show it to him, Andre. 192 pound-foot of torque, and the EPA numbers are 28, 38, 32 combined, which is actually quite remarkable for a car that puts out 205 horsepower. The other thing you get is a limited slip differential because, of course, this is a front-wheel drive car. Now, I think the most remarkable thing about this car, besides, of course, this incredible green color, is the fact that it gets 32 mpg combined. Nathan, what's under the hood of your Elantra?
Yeah, let's go under the hizzy. Let's check it out. Now, guys, keep in mind that overseas, this is known as the i30. And there is a hotter version of this. But as it stands, this is the turbocharged GDI engine. It's direct injected. And it puts out 201 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque. So it's torquey. It's one of my favorite Hyundai engines. They really are getting the whole turbo gang down. And now, frankly speaking, this spools nicely. I don't think it's as athletic as the Honda Civic Si, personally speaking. But day-to-day driving, this is the car I would want.
Of course, we did get to go, I get to go on the launch of this car, you got to go on the launch of that car, so let me
Right.
kind of tell you about how this drives. It drives, you know, it drives like a more powerful Civic, and that's really the rub about this car. 205 horsepower. The SI in America used to be the top dog Civic until this last generation where the Type R came out. Of course, we didn't get the Type R for a long time. Now we get it, and yeah. You know, when we were driving it around Honda's Proving Ground, all the journalists were kind of scratching their heads and thinking to themselves, you know, with a tune, you could get a regular Civic and get the 205 horsepower, so kind of why didn't they make it 250, right? The regular one, I think it's 175, then you get 205, and then you get 300. It would seem like it would make more sense for this to be somewhere in the middle. But nevertheless, this is kind of the sportier version of the Civic, and I love the fact that it's only available in a manual. I love the fact that it gets 32 mpg, and I love the fact that it drives like a dream. It really is a great driving car. It's one of the most engaging cars that I've driven. Brakes are linear, steering feel is phenomenal, and just overall, it puts a huge smile on my face when I get behind the wheel. How's that to drive?
This is actually a wonderful car to drive every day. It doesn't feel as I can't speak English, but as athletic on the track. Now, there's one thing you should know. It's also not as fuel efficient as the Honda Civic Si. This gets 22 miles per gallon city. That's not good. 29 miles per gallon highway, okay, and 25 miles per gallon combined. It should do better, frankly speaking. This should be like, 5% better at least. So that is a bit of an issue. However, this is the car you kind of want if you have a small family, you want a hatchback and some utility. And everyday driving in this car, it is fantastic. On the track, I think that the Honda Civic has a little bit more brawn to it, and it just feels lower, and frankly, it is lower. If you look at the two of these side by side, you can tell the Civic has a much lower, squat look to it.
Now, in terms of weight, the Civic is about 100 pounds lighter, which does make it a little bit more athletic. In terms of legroom, in terms of kind of space behind the wheel, they're both about the same. Let me show you the interior. Of course, this one's going to be a lot tighter because I don't have 4 doors. I've got the coupe version. But Andre, open the door. Let me show you the inside here. You know, the best word that I could use to describe the interior of the new Civic is just honest. Everything comes to hand. Everything is where you want it to be. I just naturally fit. It's very modern. It's very sleek, with one exception, and that is a significant exception, and that's, of course, the fact that there is no volume knob. There's a little slider over here by my thumb that controls the volume, but they got rid of the volume knob, and now, unfortunately, it's not where you'd expect it to be. The cool thing is that Honda has realized their mistake, and on the newer versions of the car, they are actually adding volume knobs to their vehicles. Overall, I love this interior. I think it's sexy, it's sleek, it's sporty, and it's roomy. Look at that, I'm 6'2", and I've got enough headroom, which is pretty unusual for a car of this size. In fact, this latest Civic is about the size of the previous generation Accord. It's that much bigger. Nathan, show me the inside of your car.
Yeah, come on in. Actually, why don't you guys go to the other side and show you the seat. I wanted you to be able to see the actual stitching on the seat because this is probably the most interesting part of the interior. Otherwise, it's pretty plain Jane. The stitching and the piping matches the bezels on the HAVAC system and in the center IP and on the steering wheel. It makes it a little bit more special, but honestly, this is not it's not real exciting, the interior. It's nice. It's simple. It doesn't blow your mind. I think the Civic might be a little bit nicer on the inside, to be honest with you. I do like the center IP. That's pretty cool. And once again, headroom and overall room in the back, pretty good. Another thing I wanted to point out, and I've shifted both vehicles before, the overall throws and engagement of the Honda are awesome. This one is a little bit rubbery.
All right, now for the big question, of course, Nathan. Before we get to that, the one big difference, of course, is trunk space, right?
Yeah.
I've got between 11.9 and 14.7 cubic feet. How about you?
I've got 24.9 cubic feet.
That's a lot more.
There's a lot more. And once again, utilitarian, it's a proper hatchback. And for a family guy like me, that's actually pretty important.
And you can get yours with a lot more safety features. I've got standard lane watch. I also have adaptive dampers, but in terms of safety equipment, what kind of stuff do you get with yours?
Smart cruise control, lane keep, driver's assist, TPMS, all that other stuff. And you can get that stuff, but in terms of standard equipment, you don't get quite as much. You have to build up on it, and then that, of course, makes the price go up.
All right, now, we haven't talked about styling, but I gotta tell you, I think this is a much sleeker, much sexier, much swoopier car than that. That, to me, is a very elegant and refined hatchback, but this to me says
speeding ticket. Speeding officer, it was me. I was the one who was going fast. Man, you can see that from space.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, and that's really part of it. Honda has really gone to another level when it comes to styling, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they've really, and I think they've actually done a good job making the car wake up again. In terms of the Hyundai, it is a mellow design. It reminds me kind of sort of like a third generation GTI from Volkswagen in terms of, you look at it, it's like, okay, it looks a little quick, but you don't really get the idea. Whereas when you look at this and go, holy cow, that's got to be fast.
all right. So if you had $25,000 to spend, which car would you get?
Well, I would probably have more fun with that, but I wouldn't have to sleep on the couch with this. My wife would probably really dig this.
Yeah, and if it were my money, I'd go for the Civic because my son is grown and I'm not really that concerned about putting people in the back seat.
Yeah,
even
yes.
with 4 doors, obviously this is going to have more utility.
Right.
Well, guys, thank you for watching this What Car Should I Buy episode. And as always, check out tflcar.com for more news, views, and of course,
Real world reviews.
see you guys next time. Ciao.
Bye-bye.